Now to the U.S. Open, what tennis fans in New York call the best 2 weeks of the year. From rising stars to players chasing history, the U.S. Open serves up 2 weeks of high drama. Singles play starts in under an hour. So to get us fully ready, who better to join us live from the U.S. Open than Chris Eubanks? He's an American pro on the tour. He's a tennis analyst for ESPN, and he's just generally the man, and we are glad to have him with us today. Chris, thank you for being here. First, let's dive into the excitement of playing in New York City. There is no atmosphere like it. It's as much a social event and a party as it is a tennis tournament. What's it all like from a player's perspective?
From a player's standpoint, you try to block it out, but you can't help it. You're playing night matches on Arthur Ashe Stadium under the lights with celebrities sitting courtside. You're getting the chance to be able to kind of showcase your skills to an incredible crowd, an incredible atmosphere. There's no venue like this one behind me here in Arthur Ashe Stadium, especially at night. This stadium will be rocking for the next 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll have some good tennis.
Yeah, there really is nothing like it. It's remarkable. Even if you don't like tennis, it's a great time. So for those of us who are big fans of the sport, it's an absolute blast. So let's break down a little bit of the tennis. The men's and women's favorites, the number ones, Sabalenka, Sinner. They won last year. Are they going to do it again?
I think Sinner is definitely the favorite on the men's side. For Sabalenka, she's been the most consistent throughout the course of the year. She still is the number one player in the world, but she's lost in 2 Grand Slam finals already this year to 2 Americans, Madison Keys in Australia and Coco Gauff at Roland Garros. So her form, especially in the later rounds of Slam, she's going to trust herself to be able to get there, but will she be able to get over the hump? I think the one player, Iga Swiatek, has really started to find her form. She's a former champion here. She won in 2022. She's starting to find her level. She won Wimbledon for the first time. She spoke about it. She said she didn't know if that was even possible. And so she's playing really, really well. She was one of the most dominant players on tour when she was really, about a couple years ago, really just utterly dominant across all surfaces. So for her, I think she's going to be looking at this opportunity here in New York to try to increase that Grand Slam total, but Sabalenka is surely lurking.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm rooting for a Sabalenka-Coco women's final and a Sinner-Alcaraz rematch yet again. I know that our bosses at the Walt Disney Company would love those permutations. What are the odds that that happens, that we get those huge 4 names in the respective finals?
I think, yeah, that Alcaraz Sinner final, I think that's going to be the favorite when you look around the men's draw. Those 2 guys have been utterly dominant, winning the last 7 Grand Slams that have been played. They have truly kind of separated themselves from the pack. You're still you find yourself debating week in and week out who's the real number one, who's really the best player in the world between Sinner and Alcaraz. On the women's side, you know, I kind of like your pick there, the Sabalenka-Coco. I think that's going to draw a lot of fans, a lot of excitement. They played back here in the U.S. Open in 2023. Coco able to win her first Grand Slam title there. I think a lot of fans are going to want to see those 2 face off again, but there are a lot of Americans who've shown some fine form. We've already highlighted Madison Keys, who won the Australian Open, Amanda Anisimova making the final of Wimbledon. The American women have really been doing really well over the past few Grand Slams. Jessica Pegula is a former finalist here last year. So you know the Americans are lurking. I think that Sabalenka-Coco final is the one that a lot of fans want to see, but don't count out any of the other Americans.
Well, speaking of Americans, let's talk about the American men. It's the best scenario we've had for American men in over 20 years when Andy Roddick won the U.S. Open in 2003. It's been a long drought for American men at the U.S. Open, but this year we've got Ben Shelton, Taylor Fritz, Tommy Paul, Frances Tiafoe, among others. Who's looking good right now? Who's in form? Fritz making the final last year, losing. Who has a chance to go close to the distance or maybe even win?
Well, Taylor Fritz has kind of held the mantle for the number 1 American for the past few years. He's been the most consistent. As you highlighted, he finaled the U.S. Open here last year, which was a big step. But in recent form, you have to look at Ben Shelton. Ben he's only been on tour for 3 years. He's now into the U.S. Open as a top 10 seed and a top 10 player for the very first time. He just a few weeks ago took his first Masters 1000 title in Canada. He is not a player that anyone wants to play. Can serve 150 miles an hour, brings a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. Fans tend to get behind him, especially on this court in Arthur Ashe Stadium. So he's actually opening up the tournament in Ashe today at 12 noon. The crowd's going to be in there. They're going to be electric. Ben is certainly one to watch for, but let's not forget Frances Tiafoe brings out his best tennis here in New York. Tommy Paul has been flying under the radar a good bit, and I think we've got a few younger Americans who also can kind of make some waves.
Well, if there's anyone who can handle the bright lights and spectacle of the U.S. Open, it would be probably Shelton Tiafoe, but they're all great. And so are you, Chris Eubanks. Thank you for joining us, talking a little tennis. Now go inside, watch some tennis. The U.S. Open begins in like mere moments on the ABC Family Networks and ESPN and all that. Enjoy, thank you, and we'll check in with you as the fortnight goes along.